If you haven't already, please check out the first part as I will be referring to stuff that I said in that one. Um, Also, I'm not going to bother doing an intro again, so let's just hop into it. The first character, like in 1.0, that we're going to be going over is Red. And I feel like Red is a lot more useful in this version. It's not like his power-up has changed or anything, it's just that with 2.0 structure, a lot of characters are now a lot more useful and useless. Basically, if your card is like 5 and above the CC limit, everything's too easy, and if it's 5 or below, everything's too hard. And with the very grindy aspect of the game, we need like some way to combat this, and Red is just perfect for this. His speed boost allows you to like keep up with opponents and like race. Time boom, well, time booms are always easy. And fruit splats, maybe not Red, but he can still be used. He's very useful, in my opinion, in this version of the game. I'm not going to be going over character power-ups because I already did that in the original. But I feel like this is enough to warrant Red in S tier. I know it's very early for this, but trust me, some of the S tiers from last video really got botched. Next up is actually a little bit different from 1.0. We have Bomb. And I feel like Bomb is better than 1.0 the same way Red is because of the way it's structured, but he actually got a little buff. I feel like in 2.0, Bomb's range for his explosion is a lot bigger. Like, there are some times where I hit someone like, there's no way I could have hit them. Bomb is actually really useful in Fruit Splat with like collecting the fruit, but also blowing up your opponent. And since you get that speed boost, it's basically the same as using Red in that scenario. I think Bomb also warrants an S tier. He maybe even be a little bit better than Red. I think he is, yeah. Bomb is going to be better than Red in this version because, like, he basically has a speed boost like Red, but a lot better. The next character on our list is Stella, and I feel like, at least in Fruit Splat, she's still the same for me. Like, she is useful, don't get me wrong, but other characters do it much better. In Race, though, she actually got a pretty good buff in that whenever you activate your bubble ability and there's opponents, they go absolutely flying. Like, I'm talking like light speeds flying away from you, and it's really funny to see their reaction, but also it's really practical because like you can push them away so you can like get that boost, because after you use a power-up, the same applies in 1.0. You get a really big accelerations boost. So with Stella, it's a lot more useful in races. I'm actually going to move her up a tier into B tier because that's a really great change. Alright, and the next character we unlock is Bubbles, which completely makes Stella irrelevant. We can't even play 2 Fruit Splats with her without having a better option. Bubbles stays relatively the same between 1.0 and 2.0, except that with a much more powerful character available to you much earlier in the game, it makes Stella completely irrelevant. I'm not gonna deduct points off of neither of them because this wasn't a problem in 1.0 and it's just a 2.0 option. Maybe I should. I'm not going to. However, there's one thing with Bubbles I need to note. So in this video made by Krishy, he explicitly states that Bubbles is worse in 2.0 because in air he descends faster, but when I went to get footage, that didn't seem to be the case. In fact, I feel like he was ascending at some times. So based off of my personal experience, Bubbles stays in S tier, but if he becomes completely unusable in air, for some people, I guess that's kind of a problem. So I'm just going to deduct a couple points and put him at A tier. Up next on the chopping block is Matilda, and unfortunately, she doesn't really seem to have any major changes. Aside from her order, of course, but I feel like she fits more as an early game character because her egg isn't really that overpowered, just power in general. So I think having her being the 6th character that you play as rather than the 8th character you play as is really good. Oh, one thing I completely forgot to mention is that she's kind of worse in stunt because whenever you're going really fast and you chuck an egg, it's not going anywhere. It's like you hit the egg yourself. So she's pretty bad, basically useless in stunt, but since you're not really going to be playing as her much, it's not that big of a deal for me. So she remains in D tier, but another character we're going to be getting onto relatively soon definitely got their place changed. And that character is the one and only Foreman Pig, the worst character in Angry Birds Go, and they somehow managed to make him even worse. See, his power-up stays relatively the same, but with all the characters that have 3 power-up uses, like Foreman Pig, the Blues, Corporal Pig, they now have time limits in between uses, which is so dumb, because now the strategic element of them is basically gone. You are now forced to wait in order to make a move. Foreman Pig is definitely the least worst offender of this, but it makes his whole, we balanced him out to make sure that you could hit someone BS, like, it raises it all the way to the roof. Because now you have to wait even longer in order to use a dynamite. Like, it's just so bad. Not even character order can fix this character. I am confident to say that Foreman Pig in 2.0 is the first Angry Birds Go character that belongs in F tier. Get out of my house. I really don't have much to say for King Pig. He is, again, unchanged from his original game, and unfortunately, it comes down to his hindrance. Now that he is the 7th character that you unlock in the game, it makes him a lot less useful. Like, at least in 1.0, he was the 5th character I would unlock, so eventually I'd run out of energy, and I can just play as him. In 2.0, with shared energy, yeah, forget it. I'm not touching this character. D tier. Don't get me wrong, King Pig, I still love your voice lines, but this just ain't your game again. Up next are the Blues, and they actually got a buff that I really like. Now their boosts last longer, which means that you can go more distances and there can be a lot more strategy. Unfortunately, they also got nerfed in the same game because they fell victim of the 3 power-up cooldown. It's pretty bad. It's not the worst offender of this. We're going to be seeing one much later that just is absolutely ridiculed. But it kind of takes away the strategic factor of the Blues that made me really like them for Time Boom. Let's say you crash into a wall and you recently used the power-up. In 1.0, you were able to instantly use your power-up again. But in 2.0, you have to wait for a little bit, which, I mean, isn't really that big of a deal, but it could be a factor of you winning or losing, depending on what CC you're using. Because like I said, in 2.0, it's very structured to where you have to be above the CC or else you're screwed. You're not beating the level. So for that, I'm going to I'm going to keep them in B tier. Our next character is Terrence, and I've heard that he got buffed as now his storm hits more people, but I'm not sure the accuracy of that. He's basically stayed the same, but since he's the 9th character you unlock, especially since Bomb is the 2nd character you unlock, it just makes him completely irrelevant and definitely deducts some points. Like, he was already basic, but at least he was an alternative to Bomb that could be used very strategically, but this is the last character you unlock before getting to the stunt characters, which, a little bit of a spoiler alert, I think are the best set of characters in any version of Angry Birds Go. So, to Terrence's detriment, I'm going to have to keep him in B tier. Like, I really got nothing else to say. He's just really that basic. Our next character is Hal, and I'm very confident to say that he has not been buffed, nor has he not been nerfed. He is still overpowered in Fruit Splat, he can still hit people in races, and he is still so-so in Time Boom. But since Bubbles, the previous character, well, the character who was above him in the original ranking, got a bit of a nerf that I couldn't see in Air, that means Hal is currently the best character in the game right now. Now, Corporal Pig was my number 1, who we're going to be getting to in a little bit. But a little bit of a spoiler, I think Hal is the 2nd best character to play as in Angry Birds Go 2.0. Which means that he is an S tier, obviously. I don't really have much to say considering since he stayed the exact same with character order and all that. Just a really good character now that Bubbles is an A tier. Alright, here he is, my number 1 in my 1.0 ranking of Angry Birds Go. And unfortunately, he also falls victim of the 3 power-up curse. And he is definitely easily the worst victim of this, because now we can only have 1 helmet at a time. Like, are you serious? Like, only 1? What happens if you get hit, but you also need speed? Like, you hit someone, but then you lose your helmet, and you can't get another one. And his cooldown takes so long that you can basically only use all 3 of them in a stunt course. Like, I don't think there's another course in the game that is as long that Corporal Pig can use all 3 of his helmets. Absolutely botched as a character. Now, he's practically useless in races because you're going to be bumping into people a lot. Fruit Splat, don't even count on it. And Time Boom, maybe. It's a maybe, but the blues just have a shorter cooldown for like what? Basically the same speed boost. Corporal Pig just fell off in this game, man. He is going from S tier, top of the list, to probably C tier. That's how bad his character got botched up. Damn. Corporal Pig, I'm absolutely sorry. And now for the final character in the Angry Birds Go 2.0 ranking is Chuck. And a complete 180 opposition to what I thought he was in 1.0. He was a pretty broken character that I didn't really want to use much because he basically broke the game. A fair replacement to Centibird because he was the last character we unlocked, so it made sense. But now, with all the 2.0 structure, with how if you're even 5 CC below, the level basically becomes unbeatable, Chuck is now the only character in the entire game in which you can have fun with in Angry Birds Go 2.0. Like, he has a good power-up, sure, but it's also really fun to try and, like, the Chuck champion chase. Try and stay ahead of him for as long as possible with your boost. But unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, fortunately, this boosts him up really, really high because he's literally the only character where you can have fun with. Which is probably, like, some sort of symbolism for 2.0 where you literally have to cheat Rovio's greed if you want to have fun with this game. It's kind of deep, and I'm probably just overthinking it. It's literally just a character in the racing game that got discontinued. But for that, Chuck has to get S tier and is at the top of my list. Angry Birds Go 2.0 was the first version of Angry Birds Go that I ever played all the way back in 2018 when I was a wee little lad. And the only thing I knew about 1.0 were like videos, specifically Zach Scott Games. And I've always been interested in trying out 1.0. And in 2024, I finally got the opportunity to because my brain turned on and I got an Android emulator. And with that being said, Angry Birds Go 2.0 is what I can equate to. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. This game absolutely sucks now. And since all the other tier lists that I've watched were primarily using 2.0 for footage and character order, I decided I wanted to compare my rankings and opinions, and dear golly gosh, was I absolutely surprised. Also, I've also found some 1.0 rankings, and the hell you mean Red is in 12th place? So anywho, I guess it's time for my character ranking. At number 12, we have Foreman Pig. At number 11, we have Matilda. At number 10, we have King Pig. At number 9, we have Corporal Pig. At number 8, we have Terrence. At number 7, we have the Blues. At number 6, we have Stella. At number 5, we have Bubbles. At number 4, we have Red. At number 3, we have Bomb. At number 2, we have Hal. And my personal opinion for the best character in Angry Birds Go 2.0 is Chuck. Alright, I don't know what else to say about this video, so I'm just going to tell you the third and final part of this Angry Birds Go ranking characters trilogy is going to be ranking all the characters on the fan-made mod Angry Birds Go Nitro. Yep, that's right. I've played Angry Birds Go Nitro. I think it's the definitive version to play the game. So congratulations to the developer Not Cash. And I guess I'll see you guys later.